Welcome, everyone. We'll call the meeting to order, and we'll start with the prayer. Dear Father, we thank you for this day and the freedom to meet. Give us wisdom in our decision-making. Protect all military, police officers, and emergency personnel. Lord, help us recognize and enjoy all the blessings that you have placed in our lives. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Ridgway.
Present.
Jones.
Here.
Baker.
Here.
Barth.
Here.
Beverly.
Present.
Bassett.
Here.
Thank you. You have the regular council meeting minutes from July 2nd. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second that.
Roll call, please.
Baker.
Yes.
Bassett.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Beverly.
Yes.
Ridgway.
Yes.
Barth.
Yes.
Well, I realize now that I failed to get the amended agenda approved. Do you want that done, Cheryl?
Yes, please.
All right.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Roll call,
The only
please.
thing he did to change it was just add the 2018-12.
Correct. Uh-huh.
Roll-
Baker.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Ridgway.
Yes.
Barth.
Yes.
Beverly.
Sure.
Bassett.
Yes.
All righty, then we'll go on to the approved bills list. Anybody have any questions?
I'll move to approve.
I'll second it.
Roll call, please.
Barth.
Abstain.
Beverly.
Yes.
Bassett.
Yes.
Baker.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Ridgway.
Yep.
We will go on and we will have Sarah Davis here from IAP. I believe Kent invited her to come to explain to us what they have been working on in Hicksville somewhat.
Yeah. Thank you guys for taking the time to let me speak this evening. I'm going to kind of start from the beginning. I know when Kent and I talked, he wasn't really sure where we were with the process, and we're really not too far involved. So I'm just kind of explain who IEP is and what our program is. So back in 2002, we were formed as a construction management firm. We're based in Columbus, Ohio. And then 3 years ago, we were awarded the state contract for third-party administration covering construction, facility maintenance, and repair. This program satisfies all state bidding requirements. Essentially, the program we offer a turnkey project management solution. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of walk you through the process outlined here. The way it works with us, we start with the task order. We currently have 3 task orders in for the village of Hicksville. They include, I believe what's called a triangle, Defiance areas, a couple water sewage projects that are in the works, and then the lift station, Defiance lift station. Again, we just have had a couple meetings just discussing, and I understand from what I've talked to the previous administrator that we're kind of still waiting on the EPA to figure out what that is my understanding. But, so we haven't really got too far involved. But the way it works with us, you put in a task order, and then within 2 days, you get a call from a project manager that has been assigned to the project. Currently, we have John Barrett, who has over 30 years of civil engineering assigned to these projects. And so they'll set up a time that's convenient. We come out, we walk the site, take pictures, we write a scope of work, we provide a conceptual estimate, and that's all done at risk. You don't owe IEP anything. So at this point, we've had a couple of meetings. No contracts have been exchanged. We're just having dialogue, conversation. Usually it's about a week and a half that we can get the scope of work back to you guys for approval. with kind of where we're at within limbo, I mean, we haven't really pushed forward with the scope of work because we're kind of waiting to see what the plan is. Once we have that plan, though, we could draw up a scope of work for your approval. Again, when you sign off the scope of work, you're not in contract with us. You're just saying, yes, this is exactly what we discussed. Go ahead and throw it out for bid. We have a pre-qualified contractor network of 218 contractors that have already been vetted through the state. That being said, we do have open enrollment. So if there's local contractors that you want in the program, send those my way. We'll work on getting them set up. It wouldn't just give them access to your projects, but other projects in the region. You guys are considered Region 1, which you'll see on the front page of this here. How it's divided in the regions. So we run it through our bidding process. Usually it takes about 2 weeks to run it through our bidding process. We get the bids back for you to review. We shoot for getting about 3 bids. And again, it's your discretion, though, who you choose to go with. At that point, if the bids are too high, money's been diverted to something else, you guys have just changed your mind, you walk away. You don't owe us anything. So essentially, from the time the task order is putting in to getting the bids back for review is about a month. And again, you don't owe us anything for those services. If you do decide to move forward, though, you would submit a purchase order to us, and our fee on that is 8.5%. That's just on construction dollars. So if we're talking a $100,000 project, our fee is going to be $8,500. We like you guys to be there for at least 2 meetings, but again, you can be as involved or little as much as you like. We work with a lot of folks that have facility managers on staff and they want to be our right-hand man. We have no problem with that. We have others that, that's the reason they've hired us, is to manage the project for them. So we want you to be there when we're scheduling the milestones of the project, and then when we're doing the final punch list and the walkthrough. What's nice is if you can't be there, that system where you originally enter your task order, Otis, everything's kept in there. Meeting notes, submittals, weather delays, permits, if there's a change order, any and everything is kept in there. So, say you're having a meeting, you want to know what's going on with that project. You can very easily pull that up on your smartphone and see what's going on with the project. And that's a free web-based system. So we also collect prevailing wage on your behalf as well. And essentially, we manage a project from start to completion, offering that turnkey project management solution. I understand that there is some A&E involved in some of the projects that we discussed previously. We can come in from the beginning, maybe if you don't have an A&E firm selected, or I've heard the company Pogemeyer. I understand that they've been involved in some of your projects previously. They actually are in our program now, so we want to work aside those guys. So if you already have plans drawn up with those guys, no problem at all. We can reach out to them and just start the same thing we talked about, putting that task order and managing the construction side of it. If it is something where it does require the A&E, it's actually 2 phases, that would just be a pass-through. You would not see our 8.5% on that. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. I always encourage people, even if they're not sure about it, to take it for a test drive, because that first, writing the scope of work, running it through our bidding process, we're at risk. You're not out anything. And we have this contract for 3 more 2-year renewals, so we're looking like 2025 right now. And as I mentioned, it's already been vetted through the state, so I know it kind of feels going against the grain. It's something different, used to advertising. We do all that stuff for you, so we take that burden off of you. And you can kind of see some of the pictures, some of the clients that we have in here. Towards the back, as I mentioned, you guys are Region 1. You'll see the contractors that are currently in our program. I encourage, if you've got those local contractors, send them my way. We'd love to get them set up in our program. And this is just a project-by-project basis, too. You're not in any sort of long-term contract. Any questions?
I do, but... Well, no, like I said, this was all new to me.
Yeah.
I didn't know where Jim had left off or whatever. I didn't know he had 3 tasks in the system. But
I mean,
that as it may.
Yeah.
I pulled up the state procurement website just to find out a little bit more how that works. What's minor construction considered?
Well, minor construction really just kind of falls under the state agency, because they actually have a threshold that they have to, I think it's like $1 million. But with the co-ops, we don't have a threshold. We can do any number.
Okay, so I'll just throw out an example. That way, whether I'm here long-term or not, maybe council will remember some of this. If we want to do a water line, and I've hired, obviously, Jones and Henry, they do the engineering. We don't have them do the engineering up to the final design.
They can get the designs completely done, and then you can have us come in, throw in that task order with their designs in there, and then we can run it through our process just as I described as far as running it
So you
through.
would take it from the bid opening all the way to the end.
Yeah.
What happens if there's like change orders during the process? You gonna have to work with Jones Henry, or are we still gonna?
Yeah,
have to back with
we
Jones
essentially are
Henry?
your advocate. We're gonna work together with them. That's why really preferably we'd like to get involved in the beginning. That way we can work together with them and kind of hopefully mitigate some of those, issues that come up.
When it comes time to bid, because I was just glancing through here, and I didn't really see anything for like water, sewer, but like under the paving, I didn't see any of the local companies even on the paving.
Up here that you use,
I didn't see Gherkin or Ward.
I'm not, they may not be in our program, but if you have their information, please feel free to send it my way. I know my colleague, this is really his territory, and he's really been kind of hitting this area hard. So I imagine you'll probably start to see more of those guys in the program and more of your neighbors that have used us, so.
Because, and here, don't take this wrong or not, I just didn't want some of our free will, so to speak, to disappear. That
Absolutely.
we gotta use
Right.
Joe Smith from Cleveland for something.
Right, or, somebody from Columbus that you don't feel,
Yeah.
and that's why I don't want you to feel like it's some outsiders coming in. That's why we really push for those local contractors to be in our program. It helps them, it helps us, because you've got that comfortability there. And it gives them opportunity for, other projects, not just, this project, so,
Does it cost a contractor or anything to get into?
No.
No?
no. They do pay a fee that we have to DAS. It's 4%, but that's we have to pay that every single month to the Department of Administrative Services for this contract.
Do you guys do observation of a project, just to observe?
Site inspection, you mean?
Yes, absolutely. So that's kind of one of the things that we set up when we do the milestones of the project. We discuss, okay, do we want to have weekly meetings? Do we need that project manager to be there weekly? Or let's talk about maybe the last few weeks. He needs to be there every single day. That's not a problem. And you're not going to see any hidden fees. It's that 8.5%. I know from talking to other folks that some of these other firms, it's really cost plus. So even though they may be coming in at 5.5%, you're going to get billed hourly. You'll see additional fees if towards the end of the project they have to come out and some extra work.
Okay.
So there's no hidden clauses on that 8.5.
No, it's just 8.5, and it's transparent, and it's negotiated with the state in mind. I mean, we work with government entities, so transparency is key. So that's what's great about the OTA system as well, is that you can log in and see any and everything that's going on with the project. And we always like to have like one admin for that, but if the entire council wanted to have access, they wouldn't be able to make any changes, but just to see what's going on, that's really your discretion, how you want to work that.
Do you assume any liability?
I'm sorry?
Do you assume any liability?
Our contractors do. When we are vetting our contractors, we're checking.
Let me back up. Say we've got a project going on, taking us clear through all of it, and we run into problems. The engineer, whoever it might be, says, well, that's not my fault. Contractor says, well, that's not my fault. I did what the print said.
Right.
Where are you at?
Well, that's when we're your advocate. So we're double checking and making sure checks and balances there.
Where are you at when it falls down?
Well, we're going to figure out who's the responsible party, because our project managers are checking that scope of work and checking those plans
But
ahead
you
of
are-
time.
Not them, Ron.
No,
Not them. They're not responsible.
Yeah, that's, yeah.
no. But we try to mitigate those.
The contractors.
Yeah,
that's
we
the
try to
problem.
really minimize those issues so that they don't run into those. With having a project managers that have over 30 years of industry experience, they're really checking those scope of works and checking those plans. We actually have an in-house architect as well. The way this contract is designed, we're not able to self-perform, but he is on hand. He can double check everything as well to make sure that everything is good.
I had a question. You said recently Pogemeyer signed up with you.
Yes, they are
To me,
part.
it's not, okay, go ahead.
No, they're part of our program now.
Are they?
Yeah.
Are you having more and more engineers coming on board with you? Or to me, it sounds like you're splitting the pie a little bit more when it comes to these constructions and bids and everything?
Well, we are trying to work together with these
Right.
A&E firms, plus a lot of our projects. We do a lot of stuff with park districts. So another name I hear all the time is Choice One Engineering. So they're actually already part of our program and have been part of our program. So it's easier just to call those guys up. We've got a relationship with them. Hey, I saw you guys worked on this. Can you help us out with this one? And, you know, we want to work together with these guys, you know, so.
So with your services and everything and your 8.5%, you see a definite decrease in the engineering fees when it comes to these projects? I mean, I would assume they're gonna come way down.
Yeah.
You're not performing all the services.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of one of the things that Jim and I discussed. He was taking a look at the contract he had, and he said, your guys' fees are slightly lower. And, you know, he understood that we are your advocate, you know, your go-between. So you're getting that added benefit, as well as, you know, we're taking care of the advertising. We're, you know, running it through our bidding process. So we kind of do a lot of that upfront work that normally you'd have to pay for. And it cuts down the time, since our time is usually about a month. We're normally looking at about 3 months.
And usually you offer site inspection when the projects are in construction phase?
Yeah, our project manager will always be engaged and always here. And then we're gonna make sure we get permits as well, so we'll do all that, inspections, all that.
The reason why I asked, on a couple projects, they said their site inspector can't stop if it's not doing to plan or to spec. They physically don't stop them doing the project. And I'm like, what are we paying you there?
Right,
Stand there.
right,
We're paying
right.
you big bucks to stand there and watch. She said,
Yeah.
We're not allowed to stop them. We have to bring it back to the city or the village, and then you have to tell them.
Wow,
And-
no,
That's, to me, not.
no, and that's what's established when we have that meeting where we're establishing our milestones and progression of the project. You know, you're also gonna see one point of invoice. You're not tracking down if there's multiple, you know, contractors on a program, on the project. You're just gonna see one from IEP. We will decide, you know, in that meeting, okay, do you wanna be billed monthly? You know, if it's something that's gonna last, you know, only a few weeks, we'll just send you one, you know, whatever works best for you.
So say we're ready to award a bid to Troy to do the water line. When we do the resolution, okay, we're hiring, you know, Troy Essex to do the water line. Do we have to put anything in there as far as you guys'
You're actually
And-
in contract with IEP. So you would.
well, I just meant the resolution the council would pass hiring Troy. Do we have to have any?
Oh, just Troy. Troy's not a contractor, just Troy. Okay.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying, if his company's doing the job, does the resolution council passes to hire him have to have any language in it other than our ordinary language?
Not to my knowledge, but again, it's going to be with IEP. So, you know what I mean? If there is a contractor, because we get that question a lot, you actually are in contract with IEP. And
Not the, not the,
So
Not
it'd be
the
a resolution to hire IEP
Correct.
for the sewer project, and they would subcontract.
Yes.
Trying to think what will keep Cheryl or whoever's in there out of Dutch with auditors. Because I guess if you're through state purchasing, we don't have to worry about that threshold necessarily, but we'd still have to worry about your fee plus whatever the engineer fee. All
And
that stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
First time through, we might have some,
well, and what's nice
Issues
too
to
is
work
even when
out.
you're seeing the scope of work selection package that we'll send over, you'll be able to see the breakdown of who the contractor is, what their fees are, if there's any alternates on there, and then you'll actually be able to see our fee as well. And again, it's really at your discretion. I know when you know, put it out to bid that you have to usually choose lowest and best. With this program, it's really at your discretion. If you have somebody locally that maybe came in second, but you really feel comfortable with them, we want to use them, that's your decision. We'll recommend somebody based on our relationship of, you know, previous experience and work, but that's up to you.
the state of Ohio's okay with that?
Yeah. Yep, and especially we find, we've done this with schools. They've got, because they have that whole other thing with the OFCC, and sometimes they'll come to us depending on where their money comes from, and same way. If they've got somebody that they've got a relationship with, that's how they go about doing that. They want to work somebody local, so.
Seer.
I'm sorry. Do you
Seer,
work with-
yeah, you go
Me
ahead.
or you? Do you work with any other communities, like references of any other communities or administrators that would, we could check with?
Yeah, I can absolutely get that for you. As I mentioned, my colleague, this is kind of his territory. I know he's done some stuff, I want to say Paulding, Defiance County as well, some of the counties up here and some of the schools, so I will absolutely get that information for you.
That's what I was gonna ask. No, I was gonna ask about references also.
Yeah, I'll absolutely get this for you.
Say if you get to send it to me, I'll pass
Okay.
it on to everybody.
Absolutely.
So you talked about the 8.5%. We have the fees, engineering first though, which would be a lot lower. Any idea what we're paying now from engineers? Because they do it from start to finish.
It varies from project to project.
So does this sound like a lot cheaper? I mean, I'm just looked at this tonight.
It's cheaper, but you're still gonna pay the engineer anyhow. I see.
But
But they're just doing the prints, they're not doing the bidding.
The project management, the bidding. Yeah.
Management. So I'm just
So theirs is
curious.
gonna necessarily be
As high.
less.
Have you ever had an engineer load the front end so that they make a bit more money
No.
since they're quote, losing money on the end?
No, I mean, honestly, we haven't, we haven't really had any issues. I mean, the engineers are still in our program. We're, working synchronously, so,
Honestly, most of them are happy with this setup.
Yeah, I mean, and we call on them for, work, maybe work that they wouldn't normally get. So, I mean, we want to work alongside these guys. We don't want them to feel like we're coming in and taking their projects. So that's why when their name kept coming up, we're like, let's reach out, let's have a meeting. So that's what we're here to make it easier for you guys. We don't want to have any of that. You're still dealing with the same issues you were having before with the back and forth.
We have worked with Jones and Henry and Feller Finch. I mean, if you want, like I said, regardless of what happens long-term, I think they ought to be on the list.
Jones and Henry.
They're out of Toledo.
Okay, and I'm sorry, who was the other?
Feller Finch, they're out of Maumee area.
Well, I first heard about this at the mayor's conference, obviously, when we met, and I thought it sounded like it could possibly be a savings on some of our contracts and stuff, so I'm glad you're here to explain it to everybody.
Well, thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Does anyone else have any other questions for her? Okay.
And Kent, I will get you that information. And then just kind of keep me, if you guys need anything, just let me know, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, boards and commissions. Val, do you have anything to report from the park? Do you have anything to report from the park?
No, we're gonna have a park board meeting Monday for Wednesday.
Okay. Does your handicap chair lift at the pool work? Okay.
We've never used
It might be kind of nice if, I mean, unless people go to the pool, they don't know you have a handicap chairlift to get into the pool. So
I know every pool has to have one.
it'd be, I guess, nice to get the word out there somehow.
Maybe we could put it on the website.
Yeah, get a picture of it on the website or something. Alrighty. Any other boards and commissions?
Cemetery Board will meet Wednesday, 4:30. Here.
Is this a regular meeting for you guys? All right, thank you. Any other boards or commissions? All right. We will go on to committee reports. Council committee. Personnel met July 2nd. Anybody have any comments about that?
Cheryl, on the tardiness for one employee, and I spoke with you about keeping track, has that been good so far?
I won't know until
You'll
Wednesday.
see tomorrow, well, tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah, tomorrow afternoon.
Okay, thank you.
Were those, are those minutes in the packet?
Yeah.
Or were they in the last ones?
Right here.
No, they're in council only.
I don't see any in here. I don't know, maybe I'm blind.
Does anybody have any questions about the streetlight property as far as what we decided to do against the grain of Kent?
So particularly, you're talking about the discussion on doing total replacement with asphalt or patching with cement on Dunn Drive, is that what you're referring to?
Patching as opposed to replacement of the entire street. use the funding that are already set aside for fixing a bunch of these other streets, or as many streets as we can with the funding. I think, Kent, you said you have 125 budgeted for that rebuild. We can do the patching. Larry's very well versed with that street, and several members that live there, they seem to be all right with patching, and then take the money and distribute. So I guess I would kind of want a council blessing on that as opposed to a committee blessing.
And my thoughts, I'm on that committee, and my thoughts was no, we fix Dean and Drive correctly. And just let the semis, because the roads you want to fix are highly traveled. With the semis, it's going to happen again. So take care of one right the first time, and then wait and take care of the other one.
Well, here's the thing on that, Sheila, and we may have discussed this in the meeting.
I'm sure we have. We're not on camera. We can let it roll.
You're being taped.
Oh, I don't care.
You know, we have 14, 16 homes on that street.
Did you ever talk to any of them, see how they
It's
feel?
not a heavily traveled area. Everybody says, well, the trucks are tearing this up. I think we need to coddle to the trucks, because trucks represent industry and commerce. So, and the streets that they're tearing up are heavily traveled streets.
Not
So-
necessarily.
Maybe not the one behind your house, but
I don't think, no. Go ahead.
okay. If you want to tell your story, and I won't interrupt you, and then I'll tell my story.
I already told them. I would like to see this fix Dean and Drive correctly once, and then fix the other one correctly down the road. Instead of fixing Dean and Drive half, and then splitting the money, and then coming back and refixing it. Just do it right.
What would be fixed correctly, Sheila, to
Take
you?
it all out, and I think Kent said we was gonna blacktop it.
Take out all the cement and
concrete.
blacktop. And then that asphalt would be even with the nice curbing they have out there.
No.
And you're done.
You're taking all the curbing out, and you're tearing everything
You're getting new
out.
curbing and asphalt.
Okay.
And it's not gonna get any cheaper, and it's gonna happen again.
I don't
And if
see it
I lived
happening
out there,
again,
I would
Sheila.
appreciate it.
I don't,
I don't see it happening again. I'm sorry. Most of it was just for construction to begin with, the concrete trucks, and I don't see any more construction going down through there.
So trucks won't be breaking it up in the future,
No,
I
and
would
that's what
assume.
happened, like Ron said, the base is not the best base in for it anyhow. But there's a few bad spots in there, but I don't see it's necessary to replace the whole road. And I did talk to one of the homeowners, everybody probably knows, but anyway, he's okay with it.
and he's fussy.
Yes, he is.
Maybe we should, I mean, do we need a motion and a vote, or do you just want to assume that the 2/3 majority of the committee speaks for everyone?
Well, I think it's only fair to, and you know, because I'm not going to lose the draw, you know. I would make a motion that we do the, and we advertised for bids, got only one, and this was 20,000. So we've got 105,000 to work on other streets. And I make a motion that we patch Denon, we'll call it a patch, it'll be a correct fix. And disperse the monies fixing other streets yet this year. That's my recommendation.
What's your thoughts, Ken? You had budgeted that money for that project.
I had to originally, and this goes way back to last year, I thought about just putting in new curb and asphalt, nothing being done forever with cement. So that's why there was money in the budget to do that. I don't like cement streets, period, so I mean, that's just my personal feeling on cement streets, because I see what ODOT does out on their cement highways constantly. You're zigzagging around where they're ripping out. James, when he talked to me, even said that he's not guaranteeing that he still won't chase some of those patches where it's gonna be more than what he's thinking, but at this point, you guys do what you want.
I have a motion to repair
Repair done.
I'll second it.
Yeah,
Oh,
go ahead.
Roll call, please.
Ridgway,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Baker,
No.
Barth,
Yes.
Beverly,
Yes.
Bassett,
Yes.
Thank you. I would like to go back to the personnel. Would your committee please set up a date, a time next week to do interviews? We're accepting administrators.
When's the last day for them?
The 20th. So I'd like to go ahead and get the dates, the interviews set up with the applicants and keep that process rolling along. Hopefully next week you can do that. All right.
Got a quick question on the High Street, the wall, the rock wall, is that gonna be, you wanna redo it, it sounds like, completely? Is that gonna be cement, or are they gonna try to do the rock again? It's mortar.
That was a 2-to-1, and, 2 of us think that it just needs to be completely taken out, removed, and replaced with a concrete barrier wall.
Would you update us, please, on ownership and what
Had I sent
what
the
you're
committee
tracking?
What ODOT sent last
Yeah.
week?
Yes.
Yeah, so ODOT's not, they know it's not theirs.
Mm-hmm.
They're not so sure it's ours.
I've
They thought
contacted
possibly
historians, Metz, Smith, and Hilbert. They're researching for me. Hilbert thinks it might go back to, I think he said it was a pharmacist that had Ron Wheeler's, where Ron Wheeler lived for years. It possibly, that guy put that wall in himself. And in Kent's email, what I gathered from it, they're indicating, ODOT's indicating that they just want to slope the bank, which would be fine and dandy, but if you figure how many times that wall's been hit, just take that car away from the wall and put it in the front porch of that big house sitting there, because that's what's gonna happen.
Well, ODOT's not doing anything, so they don't care what we do.
Right.
They just don't know if it's our responsibility, and that's why I included Troy to find
And I
out.
was looking into that, it does appear that it's certainly in the right of way, but if it's, I told Ken, it's really no different than, we've had a bunch of people in the past want to put big huge rocks on the corner of their property in the right of way, and we told them they couldn't do it because they couldn't have it in the right of way in case some car smacked into it, and then there's liability from the village end. We'd have to look at it from that, and obviously we don't want rocks falling out into the street and some guy on a motorcycle hitting a rock that fell, and, but on the same token, look at what our obligation is as far as dealing with privately owned items that are in the right of way.
So.
But I'd be interested in the historical roots of how it got there.
Yeah.
Is that kind of the situation where the property owner owns the right-of-way?
No, the village has a right-of-way that includes part of what is on the owner's legal description for their deed. So the right-of-way probably goes from the center of the road however far, and that goes into what's considered their property, but we're responsible for the right-of-way and keeping it clean. That's why trees and things like that affect the right-of-way that hang out into the edge, we have the right to trim even though they're really on somebody else's property, things like that. So that's where our liability potentially comes, is if there's something that's in the right-of-way that we don't address and correct or remove or whatever, then it could be a potential liability spot.
Any chance we have 2 different prices, cost for a new concrete wall and cost to repair?
Kent was working on that, trying to get a hold of some people.
Never heard back from any of them, and at this point, I really wasn't doing anything until we got sorted out if we were even gonna be the ones they have to mess
Yeah.
with.
Right.
Who owns it now? Is the Catholic Church owned?
Well, they own part of it, but that wall stretches.
I think they
on at
bought
least
that
2 more
house.
properties.
Right, there's at least 3 people.
And then farther down, you got that mini cement wall, or whatever you wanna call it.
So roughly how much you think it would cost to put a cement wall in?
I- well,
105,000.
That's a wild guess, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Plus the remaining.
You gotta go down. Can't just put it right with a footer and the whole works.
Yeah, you have, and you have to put tie-down walls on
Yeah.
it.
Won't be cheap.
No, and I guess I was just gonna bring that up too, is where you gonna find the money for that?
I thought we put money in the budget for that. I thought we did, but maybe not.
Came up this
They're
year.
gonna melt in here.
You're talking
Came up
about.
this year, just got hit.
Yeah, back in October.
He was.
I don't see anything in the budget for
He was supposed to.
Okay, maybe.
Get things around
Okay.
for tunnel and the wall. Nothing ever
Okay.
transpired.
Cheryl, is there any money in the budget for the wall?
No.
Okay.
No, I said no.
That's what I was,
Yeah, I,
not the way the.
But it would help if we knew how much we're talking about.
Right, for next year or whatever.
Yeah.
Gotta move money around.
There's no more questions on the street light and property committee?
Yes, there is. Go ahead.
Well, no, I'll do my, because I've got to address a couple of the other, but you go ahead, because I don't know what else.
On the four-way, the stop sign. Did you want to mention that, Ron? I don't want to take it
Go
away
ahead,
from you.
Chief.
I had a residence that had a couple people, they would like to put a four-way stop at Dixon and Hicks, and we discussed that, and of course, it was 2-1 again. I'm in favor, and they were not.
Nothing
And
against
Dixon and Fountain?
I read Hicks.
Dixon and Fountain.
Huh?
It's Dixon and Fountain.
Or Fountain. Okay. I'm over one more block, sorry. I'm at the nursing home. And Kay, I think you're here, she would like to see it, a four-way stop put up because of you're having a lot of high traffic through there?
There's a lot of traffic they just fly down through there. If you're going south on Edgerton, or from Edgerton to Fountain, you can't see what's coming up Dixon Street if somebody's coming off of Fountain, or 49, because they got that curve there. And there's been several people that said that they've had near misses there. You about have to go out in the middle of the street to see anything coming up Dixon Street. And I'd just like to see a four-way stop there to slow people down for one, because people tear up through there like
49.
crazy. And it used to be that way on Edgerton Street until the phone company put their fencing up there, so you don't have that on Edgerton. But now it's Fountain Street. And I'd just like to see, it's gonna help somebody not have an accident there.
I'd agree it is a bad corner. You can't see them when they're coming off of 49. Until you have to overcommit yourself to be able to get out far enough to see.
Is that a shrubbery issue?
No.
Yes and no.
It's also parking when they park at the church.
Yeah, they're at the old Assembly of God. They park out there for their stuff that they have, and you can't see up the street. And I'm just afraid somebody's gonna get hurt there. And then maybe it'll slow people down.
You're welcome to make your own motion to try to get on the table.
I guess I would like to make a motion that we put a four-way at Dixon and Fountain.
There you go.
For safety reasons.
on Dixon, how many stop signs is there now? 2?
Every block.
Every block
Except
except
that
that one.
Except for that, yeah.
Yeah, it is a little confusing. You think, okay, do they stop or not? I've been down that street, so.
Sometimes I drive a school bus and go that way, and let me tell you, in a school bus, you put the gas pedal down on the floor to make sure you make it through there, because like you said, it's blind, it's kind of a blind spot off 49.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second that motion.
Roll call, please.
Ridgway,
No.
Jones,
Yes.
Baker,
Yes.
Barth,
Yes.
Beverly,
No.
Bassett,
Yes.
Okay. Anyone, any other matters on these minutes that someone would like to discuss on the Street Light and Property Committee minutes?
Just me.
Go ahead.
I've not even looked in the shop to see what we've got, like inventory signs, but we'll try to get something as quick as we can.
Okay, I really appreciate it.
back up to curbing on Bunnell. I did talk to Jimmy, we'll get that scheduled one of these days. The
You wouldn't do it yourself? Oh,
I guess we can pay somebody else. There again, you're gonna have to find some money to do that.
Ken, in my mind, I was still thinking about,
I don't think we need to do them, period, but.
I'm sorry, but I need to tell you, I need to hear what you're saying again, 'cause I was still thinking about the traffic sign and people getting used to having that stop sign at the intersection. So what did you just say? I missed it.
Curbs on Bunnell.
Oh, putting curbs on Bunnell. Oh, yeah, okay. So you're
So
having
you suggest-
one of our employees do it, is that what I heard you say?
Here again, I don't wanna start any fights, but I thought I'd been hearing for years, as much as we can do, we ought to do instead of paying somebody else, so.
Uh-huh.
If we're
Okay.
putting them in, I guess, are we doing it, or you want me to hire somebody?
should do it.
I can't second guess anymore, so.
So how are you gonna fix it? Just put a footer down, curb, which should...
Well, I think whatever you put in is gonna get destroyed,
Yeah.
but that's
Plow
just
trucks.
my opinion. At this point, they've got a driveway, and I'm gonna call it still Doc Kerr's old property. We go from there down to High Street. I don't wanna start all the way back at the tax place and then get to their driveway, because that's not the part getting torn up. I'd go from the end of their driveway up towards High.
But your guys can do it, you feel, Jimmy.
Well, I mean, we can try. I mean,
But you feel it doesn't need it, right? Did you say?
No,
that?
I don't think so. I think trucks are just gonna hop it and you're gonna have busted up curb within a couple of years, but.
We
unless
can
you
see
make
the
that
curbing
thing that
on,
deep.
I've been watching it for years, on 18 there, down by they jump over that curve every time they make that corner. I mean, that's just part of that curve right there.
Well,
And
wasn't the
probably-
start of this a whole water issue? Drainage.
Well, they keep tearing up that yard.
Right.
Right.
and water stands, big time. I mean, I get pictures on my phone. It doesn't drain. Water stands there. Truck goes over, swings wide into the yard so you can make the corner. I have no idea why trucks are on there though. But
I've also received complaints about that spot water laying there in a muddy mess.
when they slop down in there, it just blows all the mud up on the street, and there that is. When the water goes down, the mud's still there. It's just a mess, been an eyesore for years. I just thought it was a pretty simple fix to drain it and put a curb there. Obviously not.
Sounds like Kent's gonna take care of it.
One way or the other, we'll get something in there.
At one point in time, can you talk about putting bollards in there?
Can't put bollards out
What?
there.
Why not?
Got one up at the
You
corner.
wanna highlight that? Put bollards on the right?
I'm not exactly sure where you're talking, so.
Big post.
Yeah, I know what bollards are, but
Right there,
where you're
across
talking
from
about
there.
putting them,
Dr. Kerr's yard.
As long as they're on Bunnell, you couldn't put them on
Yeah,
high.
Doc Kerr's old
couldn't put them on
house.
high,
It's a state route.
right?
You put them on Bunnell if you wanted to.
So you put them down Bunnell and
No, they'd get
in
hit
the
all the
right
time.
of way, yeah.
Yeah, it'd be in the right of way and they get hit all the time like
That's the
that.
purpose of keeping them off.
Right,
It's all
Yeah.
back on.
right. Anything different? Isn't there one over here at the marathon?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, we did that, so I
We
don't
did,
understand
yeah.
what state highway has to do with it.
I thought at one point in time you were talking about weighing the options between the two, so I wasn't sure what would
Well,
be
Kent's gonna take care of it.
Yep, that's,
All right.
I'll add it to the list. Who knows what's
Kent, do you have
happening.
more?
The last thing there on ODOT paving within the village limits, I'm still waiting to hear from them. I'm not sure it's taking that guy so long, he should know what they're doing. But he hasn't verified if they're coming or not, so I'll let you know as soon as I know.
All right. Do we got anything else, Ron? All right.
My May committee meeting, I set them on the desk today, on everybody's in front of you. Asked Jeff Rumpel to start collecting some data at the plant, CSO events, rainfall amounts, flow readings, all that kind of stuff. We want to see where we compare 2 years ago, 5 years ago, with all the different projects we're doing in town. So he's been compiling that, and then I know in the wintertime, there's no rain data because the plant has excess when it rains. Of course, the plant gets overflow. It's usually when it overflows, of course, when it rains. It's the only time it does. But he's been working on that and getting some numbers around for us. Appreciate that. I did want to bring up the attachments for the vac truck that we just bought. Listening to, Jimmy and Jeff and Kent, I think we should have purchased these when we bought the truck to begin with. We weren't really previous to that contract, and we thought we were buying everything we needed. We have a new vac truck that cannot utilize its full potential until we buy these components, and we've had a couple discussions, so.
I'll touch on that real quick, because George sent a revised quote.
Oh, we did.
And my participation was only picking up pieces, so it wasn't me.
Right.
But I did talk to George to get his side of the story, and it seems to match what we've been told by employees.
Okay.
His revised quote was $99.41.29.
Still 10 grand for that part.
Yeah, basically. I mean, you're still, it shaved off like $279 or whatever.
That's the case, because we're not getting the
Yeah,
bids.
that's
It
right.
is. But I hate to not see this piece of equipment that we spent a lot of money on be utilized at its full capacity. And right now, we're kind of doing a partial clean with some of these lines. If we had the attachments, it would do a better job and maybe a one-time job on.
Is the
some
money in the
lines.
budget?
I can find money in the sewer budget.
So I wanted to bring that to council. I know we've discussed it several times. And make a motion to purchase the extra attachments for that.
I'll second that.
Roll call, please.
You've talked to them, did you talk to them about that end of it? That this was supposed to have been in the deal, this is how you make a package, this is how you make a truck work with these parts?
Yes,
He
he
said
explained
tough,
how
huh?
it was, he explained how it did not become part of the package.
I can vouch for Ron. He specifically said in many meetings to Jim, make sure that every item is in there.
Yeah.
We don't want to be coming back here in a couple months and asking for more money.
And that everybody's
Well,
stories
so-
match up.
Yeah.
Talking to individuals and in a group, that way I'm getting, and so far nobody's deviated from
Yeah, but
what we're hearing.
look at your company that you're dealing with, Best, or whatever their name is.
That's one.
They presented that as part of the truck. So I'm just saying, it wasn't negligence on best equipment.
So how did it get taken off the truck? Who took it off the truck?
The past administrator.
I think the past administrator said what they had would
Low as
work.
possible. Jim took it off because he wanted the price as low as possible.
Right.
And he was gonna put the tips in next year's budget, because he wanted to make it look good for the council. So he wanted a low.
Oh, yeah, this looks good. Yeah.
So,
Just saying.
Okay, Mike, you made a motion to buy the parts. Anybody second it?
I did.
Roll call, please.
Ridgway.
Yep.
Barth.
Yes.
Beverly.
No.
Jones.
Yes.
Baker.
Yes.
Bassett.
Yes.
I said no because I knew it was going to pass anyhow.
Any other things in your minutes, Mike, that you want to bring up or anybody have any questions about?
I've got some additions, but if you want to go first, go ahead.
They had the IAP, and like I said, Jim had been working with these people and talked about IAP, and I'm glad we had a rep come tonight. We're really sure what they were working on that side of stuff, so I think that's something we need to take a look at farther. Did come up with a termination letter, and I don't know if you were gonna bring that up, with EMHD.
I had to call Mike Keller last week because there were some other documents I couldn't locate. Eventually I found them. Shouldn't have had to look that hard, but I found them. But still did not find that, so he's supposed to be checking to see if they still got a copy of it somewhere. But he goes, a lot of stuff was also done verbally. I said, well, if you can find the email, because supposedly this happened via email, not like regular mail. So if they can find a copy of that, they'll send it to me.
What is it? What's the email supposed to say? Because I got copied on a lot of emails.
Where where the village actually terminated the contract with them like May 2nd.
I don't think there was a quote document and or email stating that purpose. I think he was stating some of that.
Are we done fighting with all the contractors and with the
From what
MHT?
I hear today, no. And that's
Do
just,
we want to cut them loose?
Well, they're done. EMHT is walking away.
Okay.
but the only thing, and if we bring that up through litigation or Troy or anything like that, I do have the letter that Ken Kern sent Underground Utilities.
So we'll need an executive.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, we'll bring that up. But I copied the letter that I found from Kim Kearns back to Underground Utilities. Anything else? Like I said, we're working on these other studies, the lift station for Defiance Avenue. We've got all the data now back to Pogemeyer for the water tower study, so they should be presenting some data on where they think that tower should be placed. And then Kip was also gonna check back on the industrial drive,
Yeah.
infrastructure and things with Choice One. I know they had done some preliminary work on that. I think that's it. Any questions?
I know Haver Drive lights, that's been cleaned up, started, smoothed out where they put the lights in this week,
Oh, they are
last
good.
week. About half are seated, but at least it's leveled off, so,
That's good news.
yes. It's not
Did,
done. What?
Did Mark get out there and get that done back to the trees, to the woods?
Not yet. I had talked to him last week. He had turned in an estimate a while back, let's put it that way. We finally found it, or Jeff found it. So I called Mark, and he'll have it on the schedule, so he'll get it as soon as he can.
There's some dirt hauled in out there, but nothing has nothing.
He didn't give me a
Once that's
definite
done,
date.
and you said that the power company's fixed, then that'll be a done deal, right?
I'm not sure about some of the ditching, might need some,
Well, I was gonna bring that up
See.
when we talked otherwise, because I didn't know where some of that stuff got
Okay.
left, so you guys
Yeah.
might have to get me up to speed.
the lights, that's, I'm just talking about the lights. It's not done, but it's leveled off.
I guess, back to the Chicago Avenue separation, I did talk to Leon, he was in town today. I gave him a scope of stuff to be working up on, so he'll get me a contract on that. And I told him to include some construction prices for the options he comes up with, and then we can look at it and go from there. Defiance Avenue lift station and Andy Gall, this is the week he was gonna be gone, so I haven't heard anything back on when he's gonna come to town to meet about that and just issues in general. Industrial Drive, I talked to Andy Schuman last week on that. They have not done anything since they completed that study back in 2016 or early 2017. I had heard they'd been directed to start something. He goes, no, that never came to be. So their study's done. At this point, we just need to start setting aside money to do it, and then they can start the design work and all that stuff. So I think that was it on water sewer notes.
Thanks, good.
Are there any other committees that want to give a report? Okay. We'll go on to the administrator's report.
Let's see, just a couple minor things. We covered most of that. Pavilion, I know I came to a meeting where you guys wanted to see that work get done. I've not done a thing on that simply because I went over to unlock the door for Troy one day for 5 minutes so he could fix a leak. Other than that, I've not been in to look around, but I had said something to the mayor about maybe taking a look, and so I'll get on that one of these days. And just in general, I have not been out and about looking at anything. I went to the pavilion once, I was on Chicago Avenue last week for about 5 minutes. So I'd like to get around town one of these days just to see what all might need done, but I've been tied up in the office constantly. And then tomorrow I'll be gone on village business from call it 10:30 to about 1:30. I'm trying to watch my hours since you're paying me hourly. But if I wasn't being paid hourly, I would probably be putting in 50-hour weeks again.
Hey, Kat, what are they doing with the dirt piles behind the water treatment, or not the water plant? They just got it all piled and scattered up through there. You guys know what I'm talking about, don't you?
Last I heard, and things might have changed, they were gonna work on doing more dike work, but I'd have to find out for sure if that's what's going on.
It looks pretty nasty, but anyway.
Dike work where?
Behind the water plant.
Oh,
It's just got dirt just piled up and lined down through there. It's not,
I think they're just gonna add to the dike we already got back there, or maybe extend it a little. And this goes back a year or more, so, but I'll find out.
Is that for water protection, so we don't have,
Well, mainly for the railroad spill, I think. You know, if something,
that drain comes off, we don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
well, no, but
It'll wash away.
so now I'll find out. I let you know. Have you been getting my emails?
yes.
Okay. I just want to make sure they were
Okay.
going to it that. But I feel like I've made a little headway getting some stuff cleared up. That isn't me.
anything else, Ken? Okay.
No, not till later, maybe with
Okay,
Clearview.
we'll go on to the solicitor's report.
First thing I got is ordinance 2018-11, first reading by caption only, ordinance to amend the annual appropriations ordinance. You Need that right away, Cheryl? or-
Oh, yes.
I move we suspend the rules.
I'll second that.
Way to
Roll
work
call,
it.
please.
Ridgway,
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Baker,
Yes.
Bassett,
Yes.
Beverly,
Yes.
Barth.
Yes.
Second, third reading ordinance 2018-11 by caption only, an ordinance to amend the annual appropriations ordinance.
So move.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Baker,
Yes.
Bassett,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Beverly,
Yes.
Barth,
Yes.
Ridgway.
Yes.
Next is resolution 2018-09, third reading by caption only. A resolution of the Village of Hicksville, Ohio, authorizing the village administrator to sell property no longer needed for public use pursuant to revised code 721.15.
Can I ask a question? Why are we restricting this to just those two pieces? Don't we have some other stuff that we?
Well, I jotted it up. There again, you gotta remember, I was gone 8 months, so I don't.
Can we revise this?
I was gonna say, don't anybody suspend the rules that do this quick. I know
This is the third reading.
That's the last
right?
reading.
So you can table it if you want to.
you might want to table
I
it.
would, yeah, I want to table it because I think we need to do more than, we don't need to itemize. We need a more broader, a broad sheet.
If I understood the guys right, the old Ford tractor we can get rid of, the one we used to flail mow with. The yellow Jet, there'd been talk about keeping that for a water hauler. And I still not got my head wrapped around whether that's necessary or not.
I'll second Ron's motion to table it.
But yeah, and I'm assuming you're gonna go through Gov Deal or Muni Bid. So I'm gonna need some help on that because I'm not a tech person, but
Whenever you.
I want to make sure I got a list
Whenever you get
of,
around to that, I had, I think it was Diane or Cheryl that asked me some questions and I did a little research. I've got some pretty sound numbers. I checked with some friends of mine that are still currently selling them and,
well, yeah, for reserves, but I just mean getting it,
well, you need. to-
getting pictures sent to them and all that stuff.
Right.
That's not my
You need to
cup
be
of
able to
tea.
list everything, how it's equipped and then come out with a number that won't scare them, but still be high enough that you can hook them.
Roll call, please.
Ridgway,
Yep.
Jones,
Yes.
Baker,
Yes.
Barth,
Yes.
Beverly,
Yes.
Bassett.
Yes.
Next is first reading of resolution 2018-10, a resolution authorizing the revolving loan fund committee to enter into an agreement with Lisa Laker Interior Design LLC and declaring an emergency.
Move, suspend the rules.
I'll second that.
Roll call, please.
Baker,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Ridgway,
Yes.
Barth,
Yes.
Beverly,
Yes.
Bassett.
Yes.
Second, third readings of resolution 2018-10 by caption only, a resolution authorizing the revolving loan fund committee to enter into an agreement with Lisa Laker Interior Design LLC and declaring an emergency.
So moved.
Second that.
Roll call, please.
Barth,
Yes.
Beverly,
Yes.
Bassett,
Yes.
Baker,
Yep.
Jones,
Yes.
Ridgway.
Yes.
Next is resolution 2018-11, a first reading by caption only, a resolution of the Village of Hicksville, Ohio, authorizing the village park board to dispose of property no longer needed for public use It's obsolete or unfit for the use for which it was acquired, has no value pursuant to revised code 721.15. I guess I still need the amount or,
I sent you an email.
oh, you did? Okay, I'll have to check and see if it went into my
I
spam.
did a couple of weeks ago.
Okay.
Are you doing things that are, like for instance, what do you want to get rid of?
This is that fence
fence.
that they want to
Oh.
donate.
He
that
needed
temporary
the
fence or
linear
whatever.
feet.
Yeah, that's all it is.
I make a motion.
So
I second that.
30 sections.
30 sections, okay, I'll just, I use the word panels, but.
Roll call, please.
I made a motion here.
That was just a first reading.
was first
I can
reading.
suspend the rules if you want.
I thought Larry moved to,
Do you want it out of there? Do you want to get rid of it?
you moved to pass it as an
I move we
emergency,
suspend
right?
the rules.
Well, he doesn't necessarily have to move, there's a difference between an emergency and suspending the rules. Suspending the rules you can do, and that waives the 3 reading requirements, but it still has the 30-day period, the waiting period. Emergency
So,
waives all of that.
let's make an emergency. Okay.
Don't you have to bring it back to do that?
No, we can just put that in there, as long as it gets the right
Ron's
number of
favorite.
votes.
Yes, I did, I second
As long as it gets the right
He's
number
always
of votes.
making an emergency.
So we're doing it as an emergency.
2/3.
You have that the way you want it now, I mean, written down? Okay, roll call, please.
Ridgway.
Yep.
Jones.
Yes.
Baker.
Yes.
Barth.
Yes.
Beverly.
Yes.
Bassett.
Yes.
Second, third reading by caption only, resolution 2018-11, a resolution of the Village of Hicksville, Ohio, authorizing the village park board to dispose of property no longer needed for public use that is obsolete or unfit for the use for which it was acquired, has no value pursuant to revised code 721.15, and declaring an emergency.
Make a motion, move.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Baker.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Ridgway.
Yes.
Barth.
Yes.
Beverly.
Yes.
Bassett.
Yes.
And then resolution 2018-12, a resolution authorizing the village fiscal officer to enter into a credit card agreement with First Federal Bank of the Midwest and declaring an emergency, which Cheryl just asked me to do that this afternoon, so I didn't know whether she needed it that quick or not.
I do.
Okay. I figured you did, that's why I put it
I
on.
move we suspend the rules for Cheryl.
Thank you.
I'll second that.
Roll call?
Ridgway.
For Cheryl, yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Baker.
Yes.
Bassett.
Yes.
Beverly. Barth.
Yes.
Second, third readings of resolution 2018-12 by caption only, a resolution authorizing the village fiscal officer to enter into a credit card agreement with First Federal Bank of the Midwest and declaring an emergency.
To move.
Second.
Roll call?
Barth.
Yes.
Beverly.
Yes.
Bassett.
Yes.
Baker.
Yep.
Jones.
Yes.
Ridgway.
Yes.
We just need that, we can do it at the end, that executive session on the possible litigation.
Okay. Going on then, we will have the department head reports. Police Chief Stickney, please.
Okay, you should all have the June 2018 Chief's Report. Anybody have any questions on that? Okay. At the last meeting, the minutes or information about it appeared in the paper, in the Tribune anyway, that the police department should do a better job at policing the park as far as parking went. So they were having their all-star games that weekend, and I went out there and was doing that and got about 50 or so cars moved, and then I just want everyone to know that I got a phone call advising that I shouldn't do that. I just want it known that I did do it, but I was advised not to then.
Yeah, we heard there wasn't enough parking, but there's parking.
There's plenty of parking out there if everyone wants to walk
Yes.
the distance, which
And down by
the
our
cars
place,
moved.
There's a lot of parking.
Most all of the cars had moved, and I was going to go back in like a half an hour to an hour and, follow up on it and see if other cars had come in and then ask them to move. But everyone was agreeable with moving as far as that went. They weren't real happy about it, but they did go ahead and move. But I just want to let everybody know that
So what
we
was
were out there doing our job.
complaining? The people
I
that
would-
had to move? I mean, who
About
would
what?
do that?
I was the one that,
Let me start.
go ahead.
All right, sir.
Ron's the one that called it. or
And the only, I just wanted, I wouldn't say anything except that it appeared in the paper that we weren't doing our job, and that I wanted everybody to know that we were doing our job, and that then I was advised not to do that. So, and I don't care about who called who or whatever, that's not why I'm saying something. I just, it appeared in the paper that we weren't doing what we should as far as parking in the park, and that we did do that, and then we're told not to.
I'll bet you made a
So,
lot of friends.
I was very popular for a while, yes, but anyway.
Go
But
ahead,
the
Mike.
vehicles did move, so, and there weren't any fistfights, so.
And if I could respond to that, Chief.
Sure.
I got a phone call from the park,
Mhm.
and they were screaming about, there's not enough parking, people are handicapped, they're elderly, they can't walk from the football field to the baseball fields. Okay. So I talked to the mayor, I talked to Val, I said, I don't know what we can do or how we can do it, and they said, you were down there and you were doing your job. I said, they're doing their job, that's what we told them
Right.
to do.
Yep.
I don't know, we can't do one week one way and another week another way, you know.
Well, and then it's also been said, what about at football time?
Right.
Because at football time, I've never heard anybody tell me that we're not supposed to allow parking on the grass.
Well, I would
That's a
like to
contradiction,
thank the
too.
police department for doing what we asked you to do. I was down there since the last council meeting. I saw our police officers on weeknights moving traffic. It wasn't just last weekend, but you did a good job, and I thank you for that.
Yep.
And I apologize that we flip-flopped on you, because that's not right. I realize that.
Right.
I think this needs to be better planning on the park's part as to either roping off areas and making designated parking someplace, you know.
there is plenty of parking. They just don't want to walk.
Yes,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
You
And
drove,
it isn't all the old people, I mean, it's just the handicapped.
No, we had the coaches for the games parked there's a no parking sign, there's a coach's
Yeah.
vehicle, there's a no parking sign, there's a coach's vehicle, all along the pine trees because they got there first, and therefore they park in the shade, and that's why people park there, because it's shaded and it's hot out, and they're closer with their equipment and stuff. I understand all that, but the thing is that, you know, if you want us to enforce it, then it's got to be for everybody. And as far as the handicap parking and that stuff goes, designate more parking places, because there's a lot of grandparents that want to see their kids, their grandchildren play, and they don't want to have to walk that far, and they shouldn't have to.
I have to wonder if some of the headache would be eliminated if we taped off all that along those pine trees right there, right off the bat, when we know we're going to have 31 teams, and we know this is going to be an issue, to put up tape
additional.
and rope it off in the first place.
They get out of their car and they move it, and they park there anyway.
Well,
We haven't had that problem with the traffic. when they park.
What's wrong with them parking there?
Yeah, that was
It's fine
the,
if it is.
If it's wet, not wet, you know, they've had cars parking right out the lawn, where this time it was kind of, it's been dry.
It's been dry, and
Rain.
dry.
If
driving
we
in
would
the
have
dry
known
was
ahead of
really
time, they
good.
had 31 teams and all these people coming in there, to me, they could have opened up additional parking over by the football, you know, I mean, the baseball field. We didn't have any idea that 31 teams were
Well,
coming.
I
in
knew
the
31
park that
teams
day.
were coming,
Yeah.
but we have, the girls weren't having no all-stars, that was all open.
Yeah.
The football was having no all-star, or football.
Right.
But you know, when,
You were just on a walk.
in the area where he's talking where the pine trees are, and there's a field, and then it's like number one is clear back by the railroad track. When I take my 88-year-old grandmother, or mother, and we play back there on that back field with my grandsons, it makes me feel bad, because I can't keep up with her walking clear back there.
No, but you can park down by our building, that's closer to that field. I'm just saying, there is parking down there. People just want to park.
It is a long way to walk, especially 100 degrees.
well, I thank you, and I apologize that we flip-flopped on you.
No, like I said,
I think we need to plan next year, get a plan together so we don't go through that again.
And some of the coaches mentioned something about maybe putting in an email, and I don't know who runs that, but putting in the email about the teams and what they're supposed to do, where they're supposed to park. Because they said, well, that wasn't in their email. I know nothing about that, so that would be something for their.
Have we fixed the problem?
No, we haven't fixed the problem.
Shouldn't we do that?
You're looking at football season coming up. And it's gonna be damp, so we might as well figure out, you know.
At some point, I'd just like some direction on what you guys want us to do about it, because the signs are there that say no parking on the grass. When I first came here, I always thought that meant no parking beyond the signs, because obviously they were back about a car length from the pavement, and people always park there at football time. So I didn't even, I just assumed that that meant, okay, no parking beyond the signs.
No, there used to be stones there.
Yeah, where you're.
Right, which would make a lot of
And the
sense.
grass grew up in them.
Right, right. But that would be my suggestion too, to make more parking, is to put some gravel in there or weed killer or whatever it is it takes to allow more parking in there in a place that would really make sense to park. And the other thing I'd like to, moving on in a related issue, but the same weekend we had someone renting out the pavilion who wanted to know about parking in the space between the pavilion and the track. And they thought that that should go with the pavilion rental, which I would tend to agree with, that they should, when they rent the pavilion, get that parking area in there as well, reserved with the pavilion for parking for events at the pavilion, just to make it easier. Otherwise, if you have a thing going on like that, the ball games, and you rent out the pavilion, the people that rented out the pavilion and paid money to reserve the thing, I'm assuming, I don't know how much it is, but I'm assuming they pay a deposit, and they show up and the place is filled up. And in talking with Troy, we have no basis to get them kicked out of there because it's all public parking.
I made that call. I told
One-
the vendor, I said, you can go ahead and block it off.
Yep.
That's
Oh,
right.
that's
We
fine.
allowed them
Yeah,
to
the
block,
parking.
to block it off.
But there's
that-
nothing.
And that didn't take care of it?
Early and park his car
No, they always
across or
park there,
whatever.
I think you're
Chief,
right.
did you say that the people who rented the pavilion that we gave permission to block it off did
But
not
there's
get it
no,
after all?
They got it done, but I'm saying in the future, because I asked Troy, I said, okay, they're gonna block it off, but there are always people that, like they said, remove the ropes, just go ahead and do it. If somebody gets there, the renter, the person that was renting it told me he was gonna put that thing up there to block it, but what if somebody moved it, knocked it down? Because people have no respect these days. And if they'd knocked that down and just ignored it, or one person moves it, nobody else sees it, and they go ahead and fill it up, because he wasn't going to stand there and wait the whole time. He was going to decorate early, and then their party was going to be later in the day. Either somebody respects the sign, which apparently they did, but in the future, to prevent there from being problems like that, what I'm asking is, can you do something so that I can come in and say, no, they rented the pavilion, they also rented the parking, you need to move.
We have track meets that are overflowing, and if the pavilion's rented, we put up the barricades for them and tell them that that's, parking is for their pavilion rental.
Why don't we just put a pipe gate up there?
Or just put a post with a chain across it. When we have a key for the pavilion, you get a key for the padlock for the chain. And
I'm fine with whatever you guys want to do, I'm just asking for direction on what you want me to do.
But what happens if the pavilion's not rented, and then that?
I mean, they know the schedule. I mean, they could lock it up the day ahead of time or the morning of.
Okay.
Yeah, because people use that parking all the time to go out and walk around the track.
Right.
So you couldn't have it
I
shut
say you
all
block
the
it
time.
off the morning of before, if you know you haven't
We
rented.
don't have that problem. I mean, at last,
No, this is the first in
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
never.
17 years that I ran into that.
Yeah, well, I like the idea of a chain and a post for when that situation happens, I guess. What does anybody else think? You want that or not?
Pretty simplistic.
Well, you can kick them out, I guess, is your answer.
That's fine.
If they
That's what you
get,
got.
if they get in there and the pavilion's rented and it's been blocked off and they go around it or whatever, then,
Okay.
You got a post hole digger down there, Jim? You got a post hole digger down there? So, we could get a couple posts and put on where the drive comes in and then tees out on the parking lot.
I got posts.
Put 2 posts in there and, lag and a chain and.
Do you need signage?
so,
Do you need some kind of signage?
It'd be nice to have a sign hanging from it saying reserve
so let's
pavilion rental or something like
answer
that.
the chief's question about football season. You know,
Because they park all over, even the veterans. They get off and they close to the Veterans Memorial. And and on the old school lot that we own now, I've seen people park
Oh,
double
yeah.
deep up there, so.
well,
Which I don't care. if
I
you
think
park
he
there.
needs direction on what you want him
Yeah.
to, I mean, if those signs say no parking on the grass, and we have grass right there where they've always parked, but it's grown in, how do you guys want to handle that?
well, that's just that one spot that he's talking in front of the field one there.
Well, don't they
And
park-
always the stones.
Don't they park along towards the tennis
Yeah,
court?
but that's,
But that's all asphalt now, right?
I've seen him in the pavilion lawn.
Yeah.
I mean,
We didn't like that. I mean, the only thing that's a problem is like, we've had rain, like 2 or 3 inches of rain, and the next day they're parking in that park, in the grass.
right, but we have to be consistent so they know what to
I know, but
do.
What are we supposed to do? If it rains, don't park there? I mean,
No parking at all, I guess would be the
I
answer.
think there needs to be a lot more signage.
Well, I mean,
Some guy
I guess like it if things are roped off. If you have the yellow tape from one area to the other, on a no parking sign or something that they,
Because there by the curbing that we have up by the tennis court and the big rock, we put them homes in there last year so they wouldn't park there because there wasn't even hardly room for 2 cars to get through. Right across from Field
do you
One.
have a park board meeting tomorrow night? Would you discuss that with the park board and see what suggestions they have for,
We got it down for talking about parking done.
okay. Because some of the stuff might be preventative stuff that we can just do and by doing something ahead of schedule, or doing something
And
first.
that's why I'm asking about it now before we have
Right,
a problem,
yeah.
so.
And we need to know what your expectations are year-round, not just for football or not just for baseball, but everybody needs to be treated the same, in my mind. But,
And the chief needs to know, so he knows what to
Yeah, the
do.
football parking, we usually don't have much to do with that, other than around where it's always been no parking, and that's around that curve as you're coming into the swimming pool. You go around by the rock, that's where they always used to try to park. That was a main issue.
well, all right.
Depends on how good our team does this coming year, how much traffic we'll have.
Do you have anything else, Chief?
I don't, if you guys have any questions for me. No?
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, we will go on to Fire Chief Kramer. There you are.
This weekend, there was 2 active firefighters, myself and Brent Nyhart, and 3 retirees, Joe Stotler, Dick Evans, and Keith Yance. We all went to Hicksville, New York to help them celebrate their 125th anniversary. We walked in a parade, about a 1.5-mile parade. It's a long walk. Everyone had fun, they enjoyed us having us there, and they're planning on coming up here for something.
Great.
Thank you.
October the 6th, we're working on with 2 bandits for Oktoberfest. Some festives downtown. We'll have a breakfast that morning. We're planning a 5K run that morning. And 2 bandits planning a fun run. There will be activities downtown for kids and stuff like that. More details to follow.
Are you planning on the street being blocked off downtown?
Yes, part of it.
Has anybody contacted ODOT about getting permission for
Not
that?
yet.
Okay.
I told Mark that's what he kind of needed to do. was
Okay,
get
I
with
just wanted to warn you that it does take permission.
Yes. So we're working at that.
Sounds fun. So is the chamber doing nothing?
Doing nothing.
Okay.
It's 2 bandits and us.
All right.
Fire, the auxiliary mostly.
I'm sure you'll have other people that want to jump on board because I've had people ask me if the chamber was having anything this fall. And so I imagine there will be other interests too. That's great.
If they want to be involved, get with Mark at 2 bandits or myself or my wife.
Okay. Thank you.
See what we can do.
Okay.
Did you see Dawn tomorrow?
Yeah.
She should know what
Okay.
she wants to talk to you about.
I talked to her today.
About numbers?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
good enough.
I'm working
I
on
didn't
it. Any other questions for me?
Thank you, chief.
Thank you.
None at all.
Val, we have park director on the list next. Do you have anything you want to say?
No.
Oh, did I just?
Yeah, you asked me one.
Oh, I skipped the EMS chief. I must. Okay. Sorry, Bruce. Do you have anything to say?
A lot of love tonight.
This can't read. It's too hot.
It is warm.
We should pick up a donation for air in here.
I think the chief maybe stole this unit, put on his.
I was gonna say, we can hook you up with the guy that did ours.
It doesn't even sound like it's running.
Abby Schock has passed her national registry test. She's now a full-fledged EMT for the Hicksville Rescue Squad, and that was all.
That's great. Thank you.
I don't want to even want to hear from you.
Bruce, you
Jeff.
didn't ask if we had any questions.
Jeff,
I know about it.
do you have anything that you want to talk to council about? Or,
Our meeting Wednesday and,
oh, I was trying to get Jeff's attention, Val, sorry.
oh, I thought you said to me.
No, it's Jeff.
No, just working on the numbers for the Mike asked requested about the flow numbers and, going back to, 2010, I think, to get the numbers, what we've had through the plant and rain and everything else, so I'm working on that. And hopefully by next council meeting, we'll have those numbers.
I feel like we need some cold drinks on the table. I was like, ugh.
Agreed. Oh.
I have one.
Burgers up there.
All right, well, do you want Jeff on the agenda from now on? I mean, under a,
Yeah, I think so, since he comes to all the meetings, sure, you told me you did.
Cheryl, would you start putting Jeff Rumpel on the agenda, please?
I appreciate him coming to all the meetings.
Yes?
To the podium.
In the future. That's one way to get out of a
Good
meeting.
night.
I thought that was,
I need one of them.
I thought that was the overheating meeting.
Cheryl, would we have fiscal officer's report, please?
Don't you have it on there?
We have the month-to-date, year-to-date cash report. If anyone has any questions, nobody had any questions about my ordinance. The police department has a report. She does those every 2 months now. So this is for May and June. And I only have 2 things that are not on there. I want to remind everyone that gets paid monthly that this is a 3 payroll month, so you won't get it till the end of the month.
Thanks, Kay.
Thank you.
Yep.
And you have information in your packet because elected officers, part-time people, anyone who pays into PERS can now have Colonial Life. And he is going to come back during open enrollment in November and offer it to whoever. And I gave you the whole life and the term life. And Jason is his name. He is really knowledgeable about it, how you can mix them together to make it work for your life. Anyway, that's in November, but he dropped that off when he was here. I'm sure. It's Jason Rubenstein.
Thanks, Cheryl.
That's all I have.
All right, thank you. Well, I just have some piles of papers here. Some of you might be wondering how our CRA is coming along because this has been going on for many, many months. So I contacted Defiance County Economic Development. They sent me an email, said, "We finally received the waiver notice today from 4 County on Hicksville CRA. That's the final step we were waiting on before sending to the state. Once we send it to the state, they have 30 days to approve the CRA." So I have shared this with the CRA proposed committee members that said that they would be on it if they're still interested. So we'll wait for them now. Let's see. This was not yours.
There's nowhere out there either. No.
I was contacted by someone that, and I'm not going to say the name who, but they're going to celebrate a 40th anniversary, and they were wanting to do something in each, perhaps, this is still in the planning stages, perhaps something in each Defiance County community, such as putting in a bench or a type of a shelter of some sort or this or that in 2019. And so I spoke to Corey Wan last week about it because we were, having been at the pool the last couple weeks on hot days, there's absolutely not a lick of shade there. And we had both been talking about maybe it would be nice to get some type of something put up at the pool for some shade while you're there. So that's an idea, but I'm telling all of you that so you can also maybe come up with some ideas. I was not given a specific dollar amount or even a range of money, but think about something that you might be nice, that you might think is nice in the community that would be, nice and maybe not too expensive. And thanks again to the police department for enforcing the parking at the park. And have we been doing any sewer jetting the last week or so? And
I don't think so. They did this couple digs and then they had to do some camera work.
all right.
I don't think they had it out.
All right, I just want to remind people there's free lunch at the pavilion from 12 to 12:30 for school-aged children every day. So if you are interested in that, go. And then the farmers markets are on Tuesdays and Fridays, and they've got their berries starting to come, which I know a lot of people like to enjoy when they get there. So is there anyone else present that would like to say anything that's at the council meeting tonight? Is there any other things that a council member wants to bring up?
I'm bringing up, we want to go into executive session about the litigation.
We have a motion to go into executive session for possible litigation.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Ridgway. Jones.
Yes.
Baker.
Yes.
Bassett.
Yes.
Beverly.
Yes.
Barth.
You guys care if I have Jeff stay in?
You may, and I would like everybody else, if you're going to hang around, to wait in the front office, and I will open the door.